It's always very funny when I hear this, Sean Stone converted to Islam, and I keep telling them the same thing I told them in Iran. I did not convert to Islam. You cannot change, you cannot convert if you maintain the same God. I did not change gods. What I did was I accepted Muhammad, peace be upon him, as a prophet, the last prophet. You know, I come from a Jewish bloodline, partly, baptized in the church, Protestant, and accepted Muhammad. I accepted Shia Islam because I love Imam Ali, I love Imam Hussein, Achoura, because that's what the Shia are about. They stand for the oppressed. They stand for the common man against empire, against tyranny. We don't submit when a Yazid or a Caliph tells us to. And that's what we need in the world. And that's frankly why, even before accepting Islam, my friends who are Shia always said to me, you know, they fear us. They really do. And who did he mean? He means the empire, the satanic empire that rules the world. And we can get into that. But they fear the power of faith. And it's something that you have to earn. It's not something that you can simply claim. You can't simply stand and say, I'm a Christian, I'm a Jew, I'm a Muslim. The humility of Islam is to submit yourself to God, to rectify yourself and be able to say, I stand in relationship to my Maker, and I answer to Him. And if I can be an image and a model for others to follow, then I'm in the tradition of Shiism. I'm in the tradition of Imam Hussein, who takes upon himself the sacrifice, not as an aggressor, but being aggressed, his people being terrorized and being threatened with death. He says, I will do what is just, what is righteous, which is to sacrifice myself. And that's the model that we should follow. And this is the nature of Islam to me. It's being a model citizen, a model human being, and standing for the rights of the oppressed in this world we live in. We don't have to rely upon the dictates of old, what the empire tells us, this is the way you should live, this is the way you should think. Because frankly, they have no principle. That's why you look around, what do you see? What kind of culture do you see? What kind of insanity and madness do you see? I'll give you an example. Look at Rihanna's video, S&M. This is now common morality. Rihanna, who's a product of the Illuminati, she's Jay-Z's apprentice. Personally, I have some information about that. But the point is that she's basically bought into it as to be an object, an idol of worship, as most of these people are. They've created an iconic culture, which is complete heresy. It doesn't matter if you're talking Judaism, Christianity, or Islam. It's heretical to put people up as idols. They're not gods. Why do you give them your energy? Do they transform you? Do they uplift you? Rihanna's S&M video, she puts blatantly in front of you, Princess of the Illuminati, on one of the reporter's notepads. The whole video is about how sex is bestial, it's homoerotic, it's heterosexual, it's S&M, it's about pain as pleasure. The whole song is about pain being pleasure. This is normalcy. This is now made normal. Your children will grow up watching this. Your children will grow up thinking this is the normal way of behavior. This is the way we should be. There's no principle. There's no morality. There's no love. But we're in an age now where human rights doesn't mean the right to build a city, the right to dream of a future, to industrialize, to have a higher order of energy than oil, right? To dream of traveling to Mars, to dream of space. That's not our human right. Our human right is to prostitute ourselves. Our human right is to steal from our neighbor. Our human right is greed. That's what they call freedom. You see now why it's satanic? The satanic impulse is, your human right is not the freedom to create, to build. It's the freedom to destroy. It's the freedom to take. So they've created a satanic empire, and it's now at its last glimpse. We're going to see in the coming years a world that only God can dream of. Maybe the hadith is predicting it. Maybe there will be madness in cities. Maybe there'll be earthquakes and destruction. And maybe half the world's population will die. Many people think this. Personally, I have more faith. I have more faith in God. I have more faith in Mehdi, the power of light to transform, the power of consciousness to heal, the power that at any moment as human beings, we can simply say, no, we don't accept your standard. We don't accept your norms. We will not go along. We will resist. I made a video to impeach Obama on principle. Whether or not he's impeached, it's not my power. All I can do is try to educate some American citizens as to the fact that he's violating the Constitution and why I think he's violating the Constitution. If every American citizen doesn't watch that video, what a shame, what a loss, what apathy. And then we wonder what comes will come. What will come is going to be a cause of humans. God is measuring every one of us. I believe that at this moment we choose our alignment. If our alignment is to create, it's towards the ennoblement of man, to the recognition of God in man. God will see that. He knows it already. The Mehdi is already choosing his sides. He's pulling his army. All we can do is stand here and offer a hand of light, of knowledge, of information, of principle. And those who will reject it, if they're lost, that is their loss. As we all know, it's not the Shia tradition to murder people. That's Wahhabi, Salafi. It's a satanic tradition. So we need to do multiple things. On one hand, I want to try to do projects like Achoura to try to educate people about what is Shiism, what is the principle of Hussein, Ali, the principle of helping your fellow man, ennobling him. On the other hand, I think we have to just teach people that God is very real and present. And it's not for the sake of my soul that I'm going to try to save people. It's for the sake of mankind, for our future. It's for the sake of their own souls. If every human being can understand that, the first hadith is what? What is your intention? Do you intend for the best? That's what this whole reality is based upon. It's our intention. If we intend for the betterment of man, if every human being starts to wake up and intend this, to pray for it, to activate themselves, the world will change. These Satanists have no power. The reason the Wizard of Oz is an old man is that the Frank Baum, the writer, is telling you the truth. These people have a great voice. They're great manipulators. They have illusions. They have tricks. They have magic tricks, just like in Pharaoh's court. But if they're so strong, why are they hiding? If they're so strong, why don't they come out and say their intention? Why do they have to manipulate? So this is the time. I believe at 2012, this is the time. This is the time of awakening. You have Occupy Wall Street. You have movements, sprouting up. The people are not happy. They know that their system is collapsing. You can do something very simple. Glass-Steagall, for example. Very simple measure. Why hasn't the government passed this by now? This would simply protect depositors' money from the investment banks that are speculating with our money. They're playing with our money without our permission. We don't know what they're doing with it. Why don't you create a firewall and simply go back to the old way, up until 2000? Why don't you do that? Why doesn't the government do it? Because they want to collapse the system. They want world war. They want martial law. They want destruction. Because they'll profit from it. They think they will. And they probably have even more nefarious means and reasons. But what we can do is spread light, which is consciousness, which is love. Prayer is one aspect. Participation. Educating ourselves. Educating our fellow man. That's the greatest sword we have. The great sword of Ali is our ability to speak, to communicate, to learn and transmit that. And then God will have his way with us. What do we have to fear, right? So long as our intentions, our prayers are pure, we have nothing to fear. So that's my message. This is an age that they want you to believe is terrorizing, it's fearful. Apocalypse is coming. But the apocalypse is an amazing, amazing experience. It's the unveiling. It's the unveiling of consciousness if we choose to see. If we choose to understand that really the power structure is crumbling and the power always belonged with us, with every one of us, human beings. It's only upon our work, upon our sweat, that this whole creation exists. As God said, He made this existence for man. He did not make it for a few. He didn't make it for the jinns. He made it for man. So at any moment we choose to take it back, we take responsibility as Christ, as every prophet, as Muhammad. Every prophet has taken responsibility for mankind. And that is our obligation, to take responsibility and have faith. And inshallah, that's all we can say. God always will do as He wills.